So in the previous class, I started discussing the solutions for the assignment in collisions. I have already discussed the solutions for questions numbering from 1 to 8. So in this class now I am going to discuss the solutions for the questions numbering from 9 onwards. Come on, look at the screen. See the question number 9. Six identical steel balls are lined up in a straight, frictionless groove made on a horizontal surface. Two similar balls moving with speed v collide elastically with the row of 6 balls from the left. That's the diagram here. So this problem comes under one of the special cases I have discussed before in one-dimensional elastic collisions. In a one-dimensional elastic collisions, if the two colliding bodies have same mass, then their velocities will be interchanged or exchanged after the collision. So in general, in a one-dimensional elastic collision, if the two colliding bodies have same mass, then their velocities will be exchanged or interchanged after the collision. So in a one-dimensional elastic collision, if the two colliding bodies have same mass, then their velocities will be interchanged after the collision. That means final velocity of the first body becomes equal to initial velocity of the second body. And final velocity of the second body is equal to initial velocity of the first body. So if the second body is initially at rest, that means if m1 equal to m2 and second body is initially at rest, then v1 equal to u2, which is 0. That means in a one-dimensional elastic collision, if the two colliding bodies have same mass and one of them is initially at rest, then after the collision, the first one which was originally in motion will come to rest. The second one which was originally at rest will start moving with the velocity, with the original velocity of the first ball. So here you have 6 identical balls, all have same mass. So whenever one ball collides with another ball at rest, the moving ball stops and the ball which was originally at rest will start moving with this velocity v. So here when this ball, that means the second ball from left, collides with this first ball which is originally at rest, then after collision this will start moving with velocity v and this will stop. So same process gets repeated. That means it will collide with the next one. So this will stop, this will start moving with velocity v. So when this ball collides with the next one, this will stop and this will start moving with velocity v. So finally you will have, so you have total 6 balls which are originally at rest. Out of these 6 balls, these first 4 balls will stop, and these 2 balls which were originally in motion will also come to rest, and finally you will have two balls moving with the same velocity v towards right. That will be the situation. That means you have to apply the same condition repeatedly. So for question number 9, second option will be the answer. That is, 2 balls on the row will move with a speed v So second one will be the answer. That is, two balls from the row will move with a speed v. Other balls remaining at rest. Now next look at the question number 10. Two identical blocks A and B, each of mass m, resting on a smooth floor, are connected by light spring of natural length L and spring constant K, with the spring at its natural length. The third identical block C, mass m, moving with speed v along the line joining A and B, collides elastically with A. The maximum compression in the spring is. Just now we have discussed in the earlier problem. If a block or body of mass m moving with some velocity collides elastically with a stationary block of same mass, then after the collision the moving block, the block which was originally in motion, will come to rest, and the stationary block starts moving with the velocity v of the first block. So here can show the situation this way. Third block C here of same mass m moving with velocity v. So A and B are connected by a spring of natural length L0. So velocity of the block A is originally 0. Of course, even the velocity of block B is also originally 0. Now when block C collides elastically with the block A, after the collision the block C will come to rest. Block A starts moving towards right with velocity v. So just after collision of block C with A will start moving towards right with velocity v. So here I would not only just solving the problem, I would like to discuss the reasoning or explanation clearly for this problem, because you have similar questions, number of questions given in the earlier entrance papers, and in this assignment also I have given almost another 2 questions with similar logic. And so when the block A starts moving towards right, the block A compresses the spring towards right. So the elastic force exerted by the spring on the block A, the elastic force exerted by the spring on the block A acts towards left, and the spring compresses the compressor spring pushes the block B towards right. So the elastic force on block B by the spring acts towards right. I am talking about the situation after the block A starts moving towards right. At a particular instant, V1 is the velocity of the block A towards right, and V2 is the velocity of the block B. You can observe that as the block A begins to compress the spring towards right, the elastic force by the spring on the block A is directed towards left. That means opposite to the velocity V1 of the first block A. Whereas the elastic force on block B by the spring acts towards right in the direction of its velocity V2. So if you start the observation from the instant when the block A starts moving towards right with velocity V, then with the passage of time, the velocity of block A begins to decrease, whereas velocity of block B begins to increase, because the elastic force on block A by the spring acts opposite the velocity v1 of the block A. So if we apply conservation of momentum, the momentum of A with which it starts moving towards right is equal to m into V. At that instant, velocity of the block B is 0. That means the velocity of the block A just after block C collides with A will be equal to V, and velocity of block C becomes 0. So now we'll consider the two blocks A and B and the spring as one system. So during subsequent motion, total momentum of the system of the two blocks remains and spring remains constant because there are no external force acting on system. The weight mg of each block is balanced by the normal reaction force by the floor. So when you consider the two blocks and spring, all the three together as one system, the elastic force by the spring on each block is an internal force, or the force by any one of the blocks on spring is also an internal force. And internal force cannot change the total linear momentum system. So from conservation of momentum, you can write mv is equal to mv1 plus mv2. Or you can write v1 plus v2 equal to v. So if you again start your observation, from the instant block A starts moving towards right with velocity v, during subsequent motion v1 decreases because elastic force by spring on A acts opposite to v1. v2 increases because elastic force by spring on B acts in the direction of its velocity. So at one particular instant, v2 becomes equal to v1 because v1 plus v2 is a constant here, equal to v. So v1 decreases and v2 increases. At one particular instant, v2 and v1 becomes equal. So at that instant, the length of spring will be minimum. I mean, as v1 decreases, as long as v1 is greater than a2, I mean as long as v1 is greater than v2, the separation between the two blocks decreases. So if that means if the first block A is moving towards right more faster than the second block B, that means when v1 is more than v2, that means block A is coming nearer to the block B with the passage of time. That means separation between the two blocks decreases, or spring gets compressed more and more. But at one particular instant, v2 and v1 become equal. Let us suppose at a particular instant t equal to t naught, v1 and v2 become equal. After that particular instant, t greater than t naught, v2 further increases and v1 further decreases. That means v2 and v1 are v1 plus v2 equal to v. So when v2 and v1 are equal, from first equation, if you substitute v2 equal to v1, you get 2v1 equal to v, or v1 equal to v by 2. After that particular instant, when v2 and v1 becomes equal, v2 becomes more than v by 2, and v1 becomes less than v by 2. When v2 becomes more than v1, then the separation between the two blocks begins to increase. That means if second block B is moving more faster than the first block A and away from the first block A, then the separation between the two blocks increases, or length of spring increases. That means what? If you analyze the motion of system of the two blocks A and B and spring, from the instant just after the block C collides with the block A, the block A first starts moving towards right with velocity v. At that instant, velocity of block B is 0. So then velocity of first block A begins to decrease. Velocity of second block B begins to increase. So up to this instant t equal to t naught, that means at any instant before this particular instant t equal to t naught, v1 is more than v2. Then separation between the two blocks keeps decreasing. Length of the spring keeps decreasing. Compression of spring increases. So at the particular instant t equal t naught, that velocity of the two blocks become equal. After that instant t equal t naught, V2 will become more than V1 because V2 keeps increasing because force on block B by spring in the direction of its motion of the block B. So when V2 becomes more than V1, the separation between the two blocks begins to increase. That means the separation between the two blocks first decreases and reaches the minimum value at the instant t equal t naught. And after the instant t equal t naught, separation between the two blocks begins to increase when V2 becomes more than V1. That means the compressor spring will be maximum. The compressor spring will be maximum at the instant t equal t naught when the separation between the two blocks is minimum. So in all such questions, to find the maximum compression in the spring, you have to take V2 equal to V1 at the instant of maximum compression. So at the instant of maximum compression, you can write V2 equal to V1. Now applying conservation of mechanical energy, because the two blocks are resting on a smooth floor, there is no friction here. The elastic force by the spring is a conservative force. Therefore, total mechanical energy of the system of the two blocks A and B and the spring remains conserved during the subsequent motion. So, sum of the kinetic energy and potential energy. We can take gravitational potential energy of each block to be 0 on the horizontal surface. Here there is no change in the gravitational potential energy because the blocks are moving in the horizontal direction. So kinetic energy of system just after block C collides with A is equal to half mv square. That should be, and elastic potential energy is stored in the spring at that instant is 0 because spring has a natural length L originally. So total kinetic energy system of the two blocks at a later instant is equal to half mv1 square plus half mv2 square. That is the kinetic energy of block A plus kinetic energy of block B plus elastic potential energy stored in the spring. So x is equal to xm. Xm represents maximum compression in the spring when V2 equal to V1 equal to V by 2. That means x at the instant t equal to t naught. So substitute here V1 equal to V by 2 on the right side. V2 also equal to V by 2 on the right side. And x equal to xm. So you get half mv square half m into v by 2 square. Same term to be repeated. Half m into v by 2 square plus half k xm square. Come on, those who want to copy the solution of the problem, you can copy down the solution of the problem and simplify it, solve for xm square and then find xm. In case you need more time to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and take more time. You complete the simplification yourself. So for question number 10, which I have just now discussed, the first option will be the answer. So next look at the question number 11. It is also based on similar reasoning, similar procedure. The difference between this problem and the earlier problem is that in the earlier problem, the two blocks A and B have equal masses, but here they have different masses. You can repeat the similar procedure, but once again you see there, two bodies A and B of masses m and 2m respectively are placed on a smooth floor. They are connected by a spring. Third body C of mass m moves with velocity v0 along the line joining A and B, collides elastically with A as shown in the figure. A certain instant of time t naught after collision, it is found that the instantaneous velocities of A and B are the same. Further, at this instant, the compression spring is found to be x naught. Determine the spring constant. So, as I explained in the previous problem, similarly here also the two blocks C and A have same mass. So, when block C collides elastically with the first block A, then at the instant just after collision, the block C will come to rest and block A will start moving towards right with this velocity v naught. So during subsequent motion of system of the two blocks A and B and the spring, as I explained in the previous problem, the compression spring will be maximum at the instant when the velocities of the two blocks are equal. So from conservation of momentum, that means we'll consider the motion of the system of the two blocks A and B and the spring from the instant after block C comes to rest and block A starts moving towards right. So momentum of system of the two blocks, momentum of A just after C collides with A becomes mv naught. Then C system, that will be the initial momentum system. That is equal to final momentum system of the two blocks A and B equal to mv1 plus mass of the block A is m plus momentum of block B can write 2m into v2. So v naught can be written as v1 plus 2v2. Here it is given that at a certain instant of time t naught after collision, it is found that the instant of velocities of A and B are same. As explained in the previous problem, the instantaneous velocities of A and B become equal at the instant when the compression spring is maximum, which is denoted by x naught here. That means that given this problem, compression spring, maximum compression is denoted by x naught. The two blocks are moving on a smooth floor, there is no friction, and elastic force by spring is a conservative force. Therefore, total mechanical energy system of the two blocks A and B and the spring remains constant during the subsequent motion. So applying conservation of energy, total mechanical system can be written as sum of the kinetic energy of system plus elastic potential energy stored in the spring. You can assume gravitational potential of each block to be 0 on the horizontal surface. There is no change in the gravitational potential energy of the blocks because they are moving in the horizontal direction. So at the total kinetic energy of the block A just after block C stops becomes half mv naught square. But at that instant spring has a natural length, so elastic potential energy stored in the spring is 0. So at the instant t equal to t naught, v1 and v2 become equal. So I can substitute v2 equal to v1 here on the left side. So I get v naught equal to v1 plus 2v1. So we can simplify that. That means that t equal to t naught, v2 equal to v1 equal to v naught by 3. And total mechanical system of the two blocks and spring at an instant after collision equal to kinetic energy of the block A plus kinetic energy of the block B. Kinetic energy of the block A is half into mass of block A and square of the velocity of block A. Kinetic of the block B is equal to half into mass of the block B is 2m into square of the velocity of the block B plus elastic potential stored in spring kinetic half k square. So at the instant t equal to t naught, v2 and v1 become equal, each equal to v naught by 3 and x equal to x naught. So substituting these values here, you can write on the left side half m v naught square, on the right side v1 can be written as v naught by 3 and half 2m into V2 square. V2 can also be written as V naught by 3, and we can write K equal to X equal to X naught. You have to find the value of K. If you want to copy the solution of the problem, come on, copy the solution of the problem and complete the simplification part. So you can solve for K here. K you will get 2 by 3 mv naught square by x naught square. Better check up your calculation, because on simplification sometimes the teachers may also go wrong, but we'll teach you the correct method always. So sometimes students may do the simplification more accurately compared to some of the teachers, because they are more young and concentrate better. So in case you need more time to copy the solution and do the simplification, you can take a pause and take your time. So next you can see the next problem, question number 12. A ball of mass small m approaches a wall of mass capital M, much greater than small m. Double greater than small m means capital M is much larger than small m, with speed 4 meters per second along the normal to the wall. The speed of the wall is 1 meter per second towards the ball. The speed of the ball after elastic collision with the wall is. It is similar to the question number 8, which I have discussed in my previous class. So the collision is elastic. So the ball is the first body. So m1 is the mass of the ball here. The initial loss of the first body denoted by u1, that is equal to 4 meters per second. So the ball is the second body. Whose mass is denoted by capital M. And the initial loss second body before collision denoted by u2. So here u1 and u2 are opposite. So if you give positive sign for u1, mathematically you have to give negative sign for u2. So here you have to find the speed of the ball after the elastic collision with the ball. So it means you have to find v1. So in a head-on elastic collision, you can write v1 equal to m1 minus m2 by m1 plus m2 all multiplied by u1 plus 2m2 by m1 plus m2 into u2. Here m2 is very large compared to m1. So therefore you can neglect m1 compared to m2 both in your denominator. So if you neglect M1 in comparison to M2, in both numerator and denominator, you get V1 equal to minus U1 plus 2U2. So here U1 can take it as 4 meter per second. And U2 is minus 1 meter per second because it is initial velocity second body is opposite to the initial velocity of the first body. So if we give positive sign for initial velocity to the first body, you have to get negative sign for initial velocity second body. So that will be minus 4 minus 2 meter per second. That means here I have substituted U2 equal to minus 1 meter per second. So we get V1 equal to minus 6 meter per second. That means the answer is 6 meter per second. Away from the negative sign indicated the direction of the velocity. The ball is reversed after collision. You can also follow an alternate method similar to the alternate method which I have discussed for question number 8. That means you can also solve the problem by using the two equations. One equation is M1 V1 plus M2 V2 equal to M1 U1. Another equation is V2 minus V1 equal to U1 minus U2 in the case of elastic head-on collision. So you have to neglect M1 compared to M2. You can follow same procedure as I explained in the question number 8 for the alternate method. In the question number 8 I explained to the alternate method. Same alternate method can also be applied even for this problem. If you want to copy the solution, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So for question number 12, fourth option is the answer. 6 meter per second away from the wall. Then I am going to discuss the next question. Question number 13. Block of mass M1 equal to 2 kg slides along a frictionless table with a speed of 10 meter per second. Directly in front of it and moving in the same direction is a block of mass M2 equal to 5 kg moving at 3 meter per second. An ideal massless spring of force constant K equal to 1120 Newton per meter is attached to the backside of M2 as shown. The block collides. What is the maximum compression spring? Here the two blocks and this spring, all the three, you can consider it as one system. Total moment of system remains conserved here, and total mechanical system also remains conserved because the blocks are moving on a frictionless surface. So applying conservation of momentum. So total at the instant, as I explained in the problems which I have discussed earlier in the question number 9, as explained in the questions number 9 and question number 10, there are two problems I have explained with similar procedure. As I told you that compression spring will be maximum at the instant when the velocities of two blocks are equal. So applying conservation of linear momentum, if V1 and V2 are the velocities of the two blocks at a later instant after collision, then total moment of system of the two blocks at a later instant after collision, it can be written as total moment of the two blocks before the collision. So U1 and U2 are the velocities just before collision, and V1 and V2 are the velocities at a later instant after collision. Here M1 is 2 kg, M2 equal to 5 kg. M1 is 2 kg, U1 is equal to 10 meter per second. M2 is 5 kg and U2 equal to 3 meter per second. So units of mass get cancelled on the two sides. You get 2v1 plus 5v2 will be equal to 35 meter per second. At the instant compression is maximum. I mean, at the instant of maximum compression, let us suppose the compression is maximum at the instant t equal to t naught after collision. Then the velocities of the two blocks will be equal. So can substitute here V2 equal to V1 at the instant of maximum compression. And solve this. Simplify this yourself. So you get V1 equal to 5 meter per second. Or V2 is also 5 meter per second. So at the instant of maximum compression, speed of each block is 5 meter per second. Now applying conservation of mechanical energy for system of the two blocks and spring. Initial kinetic system of the two blocks is half m1 u1 square plus half m2 u2 square. Initially spring has a natural length, so initial elastic potential is stored in the spring is 0. For final kinetic system of the two blocks is half m1 v1 square plus half m2 v2 square. Elastic potential is stored in the spring at the instant of maximum compression is given by half k x naught square. Let x naught denote the maximum compression spring, or you can also use x subscript m. Now at the instant of maximum compression, V1 and in general equation we have to write half kx square. So at the instant t equal to t naught, the velocities of two blocks are equal. And the velocity of each block will be 5 meter per second. And x equal to x naught. X naught represents the maximum compression spring. So substitute all the values here. So m1 equal to, you can cancel 1 by 2 here in all the terms. So you can cancel 1 by 2 in all the terms otherwise. So 1 by 2 is commonly present in all the terms on both sides of the equation. So that can be cancelled. So m1 equal to 2 kg into u1 square means 10 meter per second whole square. All the units are understood to be in SI units. M2 is 5 kg and U2 is 3 meter per second. So M1 is 2 kg, V1 at the instant of maximum compression, V1 is 5 meter per second. M2 is equal to 5 kg. So at the instant of maximum compression spring, V1 and V2 are equal and each will be equal to 5 meter per second. Plus K is given to be 1120 Newton per meter. Let x naught denote the maximum compression spring. So this has to be simplified. Come on, copy down the solution of the problem. In case you need more time to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. And please complete the simplification part yourself, now itself. So if you simplify this, you get x naught square is 1 by 16 in SI units, or x naught equal to 1 by 4 or 0.25 meter. So answer is 0.25 meter. So look at the question number 14. This question number 14 is similar to the question number 12. Here also we can neglect the mass m1 of the first particle compared to the mass m2 of second particle. So you can repeat the procedure I have explained in question number 12. And same procedure almost we have discussed, I think, for question number 8. There are two problems which I have done with the same procedure. So therefore you try to solve this problem yourself with similar procedure. If you repeat the procedure, you get V1 equal to minus U1 plus 2U2. That means I am directly writing the step. The initial velocity of the first particle is 12 meter per second. Initial velocity of the second particle is 10 meter per second in the same direction. So you get velocity of the first particle as 8 meter per second. That means if you repeat the procedure, you will get this step. When you repeat the procedure I have explained for 12th question or 8th question. So for question number 14, you get second option is the answer. That is move at 8 meter per second in its. That is after collision the particle will move at 8 meter per second in its original direction. You can see the next problem. 15th one. Ball of mass M moving with velocity v collides head on completely inelastically with another ball of same mass but moving in the opposite direction with same speed. So in any one-dimensional collision, whether it is elastic or inelastic, or one-dimensional collision, you can write m1 v1 plus m2 v2 equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2. Here the two balls are moving in opposite directions with the same speed. And they have same mass m. So here you can write u1 equal to v and u2 is minus v because the velocity of the initial velocity second ball before collision is opposite to the initial velocity first ball before the collision. So if you give positive sign for initial velocity first ball before collision, you have to give negative sign for initial velocity second ball before collision. So after the collision, both will have a common velocity. Therefore, you can write v2 equal to v1 because it is given that the two balls collide head-on completely inelastically. The collision is said to be completely inelastic when the two bodies move together with a common velocity after collision. So you can write here v2 is same as v1. So m1 is m, u1 is v. M2 is also m, u2 is minus v. So you get 2m1 v1 is equal to 0 or v1 is 0. Therefore you get v2 equal to 0 and v1 equal to 0 after collision. That means after collision both the balls come to rest. So for question number 15, second option is answer. See the question number 16 now. Sphere A strikes with velocity u, another identical sphere B at rest. The spheres A and B move with velocity 3v and 4v respectively. The question of restitution is. So here both the spheres have same mass m2 equal to m1. So for any one-dimensional collision, you can write m2 v2 plus m1 v1 equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2. Here m2 and m1 are equal. So you can write m2 equal to m, m1 equal to m. v1 is 3v, v2 is 4v. So here v1 is 3v, v2 is 4v, and second body is initial at rest. So u2 is 0 and u1 is u. That means initial of first body A before collision is u, and initial of second body before collision is 0. So if you substitute these values there, m1 is m, m2 is also m. So you get 7mv equal to mu, or you get v equal to u by 7. The coefficient of restitution E is given by v2 minus v1 by u1 minus u2. v2 equal to 4v, v1 equal to 3v, u1 equal to u, u2 is 0. So v by u, can substitute v equal to u by 7. So you get E equal to 1 by 7. That's the answer. If you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So for question number 16, you get second option as the answer. So I will continue the discussion of the remaining questions in my next class.